There is a massive Eagles trade incoming as a brand new report has dropped surrounding one player in particular that is going to change this Eagles offensive line and get this run game going, get it pumped up, get Saquon Barkley getting explosive yards, explosive plays, and taking it to the house. And we're going to go over who this player is, what he is going to change on this Eagles offensive line to get this run game going, how he affects Jeff Stoutland's system among the great offensive linemen that already play on this team, and what exactly the draft compensation or the trade compensation would be for a player of this caliber. We're going to go over all of that and more in today's edition of Eagles Digest. How's it going, guys? Jack here with another video. Before we get into everything, we noticed that 98.4% of you are not subscribed, so please make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Make sure you're getting your notifications from Eagles Digest because we got the trade deadline coming around the corner, so we're pumping out all this content, making sure that you guys are updated and staying informed on all of the moves that Howie Roseman could be making around this trade season. But without further ado, guys, let's get into the report of today. It says, after finishing with the NFL's second best rushing offense last season, the Philadelphia Eagles have yet to get their ground game going in 2025. Led by Saquon Barkley, Philly averaged 179.3 yards and 4.9 yards per carry last year. So far, through 7 games, the Eagles are netting 81 point yards a game, which is 30th, and a paltry 3.3 yards per rush, which is tied for last in the NFL. Super huge contrast from last year, guys. Not sure what exactly is, well, I do know what's going on. I think it's partially the run game and the play calling. I don't think it's all on the offensive line, but we'll get into that a little bit more. He says that considering that the 2-5 Cleveland Browns current situation, Mike Jones of The Athletic thinks a player like right guard Wyatt Teller might be available via trade, and he thinks the Eagles would be wise to add him. He continues on by saying that 2020 season marked his breakout. Teller emerged as one of the best run blocking guards in football, earning second-team All-Pro honors. He repeated as a second-team All-Pro in 2021 and was named to the Pro Bowl 3 straight years from 2021 to 2023. His calling card has always been brute strength and leverage. He's a tone setter who excels in gap schemes, consistently creating movement at the point of attack and pulling effectively in space. And finally, he says that Teller's run blocking grade from PFF is a 67.6, currently ranked 27th among all qualifying guards, while Steen's 58.8 mark is ranked 59th. But Steen has better pass blocking grade, which is a 72.8, which is 18th among guards, rather than Teller, who has a 52.1, which is 72nd among guards, which is obviously a pretty notable drop-off, as he mentions there. But another thing that he mentions here is that Steen is also far cheaper. While Teller has a cap hit of $14 million and $10 million in 2025 and 2026, Steen's cap hits are $1.5 million and $1.8 million over the next 2 years. With the trade deadline 2 weeks away, something serious would have to go wrong with Steen for the Eagles to seriously consider a trade like this. But guys, if you look at a guy like Wyatt Teller, you know, he is a veteran offensive lineman. He's been a guard. He started with Buffalo and then he got traded to Cleveland. He's been in the league for a number of years now. He has been a staple on that Cleveland Browns offensive line, alongside guys like Joel Bitonio, and Jack Conklin. But I think that a guy like him could absolutely change the narrative around this offensive line, who has just been, I don't want to say that they've been performing bad, because it's not all on the offensive line this year. It's honestly has to do with the play calling. The play calling has just not been the same last year. You know, we transitioned from another offensive coordinator again for the 4th year in a row. We've got Kellen Moore last year, who was calling the offense for Saquon Barkley, which obviously turned out great. He had one of the best rushing seasons of all time. But we have Kevin Patullo this year, who's obviously adjusting to this offense. He's, you know, getting used to the team, their tendencies, their preferences, what they like to do, and it's showing. The run game is just not the same. It's not what it used to be, and we're almost at the halfway mark of the season, and Saquon Barkley is nowhere near the level that he played last year. He's not even, I wouldn't even say he's half that. It's just not looking good. It looks bad, and we're going up against the Giants this coming Sunday, which is going to be a tough matchup. That is not going to be a slouch of an opponent. I mean, we got 5 touchdowns put on the defense the last time we played them. That was not pretty. That's not what you want to see. I think that defensive line is one of the best in the NFL. It's top 5 at least. You know, they have Abdul Carter. They have Dexter Lawrence, who's arguably the best defensive tackle in the NFL. They have Kayvon Thibodeau. And they have Brian Burns, who's been playing great this year as well. You know, I don't mean to kind of be complimenting the Giants here, but I mean, you have to take that into account. You have to take that into account that this defensive line is dangerous, and they're young, and they're they're going to put the pressure on the Eagles for the next coming years. So this is something that we have to look at and something that we need to address quickly while we have Saquon Barkley, who is currently in his prime right now, and it's being wasted behind this lackluster and completely repetitive play calling, and it's just brutal to see. But just to take a look at Wyatt Teller this season and how he's been playing pretty solid across the board. As you can see here from PFF, his run blocking has been solid, as it always has been. His pass blocking is not the greatest, but it's pretty adequate. And the thing about offensive linemen, guys, is that when you surround an offensive lineman who maybe not be the greatest one in the league, like Tyler Steen, for example, and I don't mean to crap on Tyler Steen for his lackluster play this season. I don't even want to call it lackluster because I don't even think it's been like that. He's been a great pass protector this year for Jalen Hurts. I think he's been really standing out in his first real starting season. He's only been in the league. This is his third year in the league, and for the past 2 seasons, he's only been on just a rotational snap basis. He's filling in for the starters when they get tired or when they're injured. So he hasn't really had an opportunity to truly showcase his abilities. But it's important to note that if the Eagles were to trade for Wyatt Teller, he would be on the bench because, Wyatt Teller is making way more money than Tyler Steen. That's something that you have to take into consideration. But I guess the whole idea is that, do you want to trade for someone like Wyatt Teller? This guy is a former All-Pro. He made the All-Pro team 2 times. He is a 4-time Pro Bowler. He's an excellent player. He really is. Now, obviously, he is getting a little older, which an offensive lineman is not what you want to see. That's always a bit of a red flag because, with age, their bodies break down, as we saw with Jason Kelce, who just absolutely played it into the ground every single game that he gave it. He was obviously one of the best players in Eagles history that gave it his all every single day. But looking at Wyatt Teller here, if they were to trade for Wyatt Teller, I'd say that given that he's old and that he's making a lot of more money than Tyler Steen, you'd probably look at something like a 5th-round draft pick, maybe a 6th-rounder. I don't know. The Cleveland Browns might ask for a little more, given that he is one of their veteran offensive linemen and they think they can sell him a little higher than he might actually be. But getting someone like Wyatt Teller is, definitely something to look at because this run game has just been brutal this year. If you want to look at the numbers here, the most basic direction that Saquon Barkley has been going this year is up the middle left. These are the directions that he's ran all season, and 26 runs up the middle left is, that's just like halfback dives, just through the left side or the right side of the center. It's very predictable. Defenses have been planning since the dawn of Saquon Barkley's amazing season last year. They know what the Eagles are going to do. They know their gap schemes. They know their zone schemes for blocking. They know exactly where the offensive lineman is going to pull. They know where Saquon Barkley is going to juke to. They know what hole he's going to. It's all repetitive, and they're using the same thing every single time for mostly every play. So it's a little frustrating to see. If you want to look at another thing here, you can look at that Saquon Barkley, his yards before contact is also brutal this year. Look at that change right there between 24 and 25. You can see that Saquon Barkley had 3.8 yards before contact last year. So he was almost getting around 5 yards. He was getting like almost 50% of what you need in a first down, and he wasn't even getting tackled. And you can see here that he's averaging 1.8 yards before contact. So he's barely getting half of a first down, and he's already getting tackled. So I think that this is all in the play calling. I don't think it's the offensive line. I don't think that the offensive line is playing bad at all. They are playing injured. We've had our injuries on the offensive line. Landon Dickerson, of course, has been playing slightly injured. Lane Johnson was playing a few games where he had a little injury there, and he wasn't playing at the same level. Jordan Mailata has been playing fantastic this year. Cam Jurgens, of course, did also get injured, which is hard to see. He's our new starting center for the last 2 years now. So, you want to see the offensive line get healthy, but obviously trading for someone like Wyatt Teller could bring a lot more juice into this offensive line. Getting a veteran like that, getting someone who's been an all-pro lineman in the past, he's going to bring a lot of leadership. He's going to bring a lot of knowledge into the already very knowledgeable locker room with Jeff Stoutland, who's obviously the best offensive line coach in the NFL, turning 7th rounders into stars. That's something you want to see from your offensive line coach. That's one of the best things that you can ever do. And you look at Tyler Steen here as well, who He's been playing all right. He's not been playing his best football, but I think that you need to still give him a chance. I think it's only the halfway mark through the season. He's still getting used to playing real NFL starter snaps. I think that you need to give him a chance, and I think you need to really give him time to process what he's doing at this position. And I think that he will get better over time. So I think that, trading for Wyatt Teller is a good idea, but I also think that giving Tyler Steen the time that he needs to develop in this offense and really kind of recollect with the play calling with Kevin Patullo. I think they need to figure that out as well with Saquon Barkley. That's all important things that need to happen going into this game against the New York Giants. But guys, let me know what you think down below. Do you think Tyler Steen is going to break out against the New York Giants, against this very, very dominant defensive line? How do you think Jalen Hurts is going to do against this defensive line? Do you think he's going to be avoiding the pressure like he did against the Minnesota Vikings with one of his best passing performances I've ever seen with my own eyes? What a fun game that was to watch. But let me know down below, guys, what you think. And as always, go Birds.